Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Mondays Down South. As you can see, we're missing our wonderful, bald-headed, beautiful friend Zach Kulik. He's on vacation with Alexa. I don't know why I'm roasting him, but I just feel like it's a good week to mess with him a little bit when he goes back and watches this. I hope he's enjoying it. Last week we had Zach Klein come on and did an awesome job, and Phil seems to think he has a tough act to follow. But if there's anyone I like talking football with, and I know Evan agrees with this, it's Phil Samay. He's on. We haven't had him ever before, which I take a lot of crap for. I can't believe it's taken this long. So I'm sorry for being a crappy friend in that sense, Phil, but thank you for joining.
Not at all.
And I can't wait to. Yeah. Anyway, tell them talk about yourself. Tell them what teams you're into. I think your name will be a giveaway.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll go from that.
Yeah, name's Phil Samay. Went to high school with these two boys. Before I get there, I'll tell you a little bit about me, but I'm going to follow the Zach lead and give you guys a congratulations. I mean, it's pretty inspiring to see you guys. You do what I think I've always dreamt of, and definitely talk to my wife and parents. I'm like, man, I just want to talk about sports. Like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to talk about sports. So seeing you two, plus Zach, just getting together, staying together, and coming up with this great idea, it's pretty inspiring. But yeah, so you know it. Phil gives, like Sai said, alluded to, I'm into all Philly sports, Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, and Phillies. It's Philly all the way. So I'm excited to talk about my bird today. Not Philly.
I think I want to give everyone a heads up. Phil is going to be fully zoned in. Evan currently has the Commanders game on because he is a Commanders fan and we're making him record during the game. So fans of the segment, please cut him some slack if you notice him looking away, and Phil and I will kind of carry in those moments. But at least we'll get some live reactions from him as the Marcus Mariota-led Commanders play the Chiefs. I do want to also say one more thing. Phil, I'm going to take full credit for your promposal in senior year of high school, because now, for people who don't know, Phil is now married to his wife, Jody, of I don't know how many years now, but they started dating senior year of high school. And I like to tell a lot of people that I am one of the best Cupids out there, and Phil is usually my prime example of that. So I'm just going to take the time to take credit for that.
I'm where I am today because of Sai. That's no doubt. It definitely helped me. In either Calc AB or pre-Calc, but
I think we might be floating Sai's ego too much on this podcast.
I was joking.
I'm going to take down the Colts in a little bit, so let's pump them up right now.
I was going to say, consider he's a fan of the best team in the NFL right now. I don't want to, we got to knock him down somewhere right now, since I think we have to pump him up.
Evan just said best team in the NFL. I'm a happy camper now. All right, this will be good.
You know how I got invited to this pod, Evan? I texted Sai, I'm like, Jonathan Taylor, he might be the MVP. And next thing I know, I'm getting invited.
I appreciate the Commanders shout out. Sai, the reason, and this is a good segue into one thing, but the reason that this week is so challenging, because normally we could just say, oh, let's do it Tuesday. But how about a little Tuesday night football, arguably the bigger game for me this week, James Madison University Dukes, Tuesday night football in the Sun Belt. So I'm occupied tomorrow as well, sneaking into the college football playoff conversation. So yeah, busy week of weeknight football for me this week. So the Commanders had to take a pass here, expecting maybe a blowout. But
so far, it seems like you guys have held ship. But shout out to the Duke. With that being said, let's jump into the next segment, and hopefully we'll be able to give you guys better content with that. But we're gonna start talking about divisions. We're almost halfway through the season, and not quite, but we're getting close. And I think we got a better idea of what playoff pictures look like, at least in the sense of how we project them out. And so I feel like it'd be a fun time for us to have a discussion about that. Phil and I have actually watched a few weekends of football together, so I know we have some notes we've compared, and we've had some fun conversations about where we rank players and teams and stuff. So we'll jump right from that into our takes for the week. So it'll be a fun, like, kind of back-to-back segment. So if we want to queue it up, Ev, do you want to do this by you start with the division, or do you want to jump right into like how we see each conference and then talk about the wildcard teams?
Yeah, I guess we might as well start with divisions. It's probably the easiest way to go.
Let's do
Um,
it.
should we start with a little non-drama? Maybe NFC East, Phil. We got the Eagles fan on the pod, so I feel like, especially after the Cowboys getting absolutely stomped this weekend, which was great to see. I feel like that makes me in no way concerned that they could ever catch the Eagles, and then I think the Commanders with their upcoming schedule is going to be too far difficult. So I think the Eagles are going to, they're in really good shape right now after a couple of wins, and I don't see anyone really competing with them in the East. I don't know if there's any disagreement, or Phil, if you want to talk about your squad there.
I mean, there's no disagreement. There's just a little PTSD of 2023. I think at this point the Eagles were maybe 8-0 or 7-1, whatever they were 2 years ago, and the Cowboys were 4-4, and the Cowboys came up on top of the division that year after the epic collapse. If you guys can remember, I can barely remember that though.
I
Collapse.
can, but I don't think you're gonna have to worry about that this year, given how colossally terrible the Cowboys defense is. So you guys got
Well,
some time.
it would be what happens tonight if Washington gets some momentum, and then there's those two games at the end of the year between the Commanders and the Eagles. So it's not over. I'm not gonna say it's in the bag, but you're not gonna lean in a different direction than the Eagles right now.
Phil, it's very non Philly fan of you to be so modest about this. I appreciate you for that.
I am holding on to hope that there has been a different division winner in that division for
Well,
like the last decade, so that's what I'm holding on hope to.
like two
But
decades.
yeah, it's been forever. So
Who
um,
was the division winner 2 years ago when the Eagles made the playoffs and lost to the Bucks?
Cowboys.
oh
The
yeah,
Cowboys. Oh my gosh, it feels like a century ago that they won that. That's crazy.
because they
Wow.
got slaughtered by the Packers at home.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
You're right. Yeah.
5-4 game end of the half.
Well,
So
I'm not gonna say too much more. As of right now, it's gonna be very hard for me to pick against the Eagles. Although I'm sure we'll talk about this more in the takes. I don't feel incredible about their chances to win the NFC as of right now, but we'll see what happens and what we can. Saquon finally had a good game, so we can talk about that a little bit more when we jump into takes. But I agree with the Eagles. What do we think about the NFC North, guys? Do we? I feel like most people are going to be between two teams, but I was curious to see if we had any curveballs in there.
No, I think you got to give it to it's between the Lions and the Packers. I would lean more towards the Lions. Even I mean, week one's week one. Anything can happen, especially in divisional games. So I'm not going to put any weight on the Packers destroying the Lions. I think they're a great team, and Packers looked pretty consistently good last night against the Steelers. They don't look like a powerhouse, but they look like a team that's going to be in it till the end.
What do you got, Ed?
Bobby Wagner interception. Um, yeah, I think this one, the Bears, was the one from this weekend that after they stole that win against the Commanders, um, had an interesting case for a playoff spot. Like, I don't think they're going to win the division, obviously, but they're another team that after this weekend facing a backup quarterback, still a hard game at Baltimore, but they just did not look very good for the majority of that game. So them, similar to the Cowboys, I'm completely writing off at this point for not just obviously the division, but a playoff spot as well. So I think this division is clearly two playoff teams. Who gets which role is going to be interesting. Give me the Lions right now, but yeah, I think this one is a clear two playoff teams. You know, who knows who's going to win the division, but yeah.
I'll give the Lions the nod as well. I'm with you on that in the sense of I think maybe they'll edge it out by a game, but I think I would venture to guess not to get ahead of ourselves that we all feel pretty confident that the second team in this division is probably going to be the wild card leader this season or going into this year's playoffs. I would assume, but we'll see. I mean, I don't want to make assumptions. We'll see what you guys say for the next one because we got the NFC South as well, which currently we have the Buccaneers up by multiple games in that division. Even after losing to Detroit, they came back and had a nice win this weekend. So, what's your all's thought on that one? Any? I'm assuming that one's pretty straightforward for y'all, or you guys got any curveballs?
No, I think the division race ended on Sunday when the talk more about the Falcons later in the hot takes, but I think the Bucks are going to run away with this one in grand style after this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. We'll get more into it later, but I think it's still early. still early in the year, and the Buccaneers Mayfield's kind of looked pretty bad these last 2 weeks. I know they won by a lot yesterday, but they're
No.
getting injuries. I mean, the rookie receivers are nice, but I'm giving it to the Bucks. I'm just hold your horses, man. Hold your horses. Bryce Young's coming.
Bryce, yeah. Bryce Young's your guy, not the Falcons? You think Bryce Young's going to mix it up in there?
No, Dowdle's my guy. That's my guy.
And
That's
he's
all you
also
put him on
my
the
guy.
trade
Go
block.
Gamecocks, baby. Let's go. Thanks, Phil. No, I mean I think obviously the Bucks. I'm going to pick them to win. The big thing was the Falcons. Like if they had won this weekend again, I would have said, oh, maybe they got a shot to close the gap. But I, again, we might get into it later, but that did not give me a lot of confidence that anyone's catching up to them. So I got the Bucks as well, and I think unfortunately we're all on the same page. Which right now with the state of the NFL, I worry that we are going to be on the same page about a lot of these because of how obvious the divisions feel. Here's where things get a little more complicated, though. Okay, so what do you guys got there? I'll start. Seahawks look awesome. The 49ers have managed to, with all these injuries, stay in it. But I can't pick against the Rams personally because coming into the year, I was a big Rams guy. I picked them to win the division. And so far, they haven't done anything that's made me feel anything different. They have an incredible young defense, and Stafford looks like he's in his prime again. Devontae looks amazing, and Puka's been out the last week, and they still won. So I got the Rams, but I expect a little more parity in this one.
What you got, Phil?
Yeah, I agree. I think the Rams are going to make a power play off the trade deadline. We've seen that they haven't been too invested in their draft capital a few years back. I think they make a move for another defensive lineman, even though they've got young studs on that line. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a surprising move to NFL and just bolster their defense even more because their offense is just it's cruising right now, and I don't know who's behind Stafford. So you might as well, even though they're young and powerful, you might as well try to win one with Stafford again.
That's
I really
a
like the Seahawks too, but I gotta agree. The Rams they're my team right now.
that's a good take, by the way, Phil. The notion that they'll probably make a big move, especially because Stafford's older. Like you want to close on that window. Yeah, I could totally see that. Go ahead, Ev.
Yeah, I think this is another two clear playoff teams in the division, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's like a clear Rams favorite here. I mean, the Seahawks are a terrific team, and you start thinking about a team that's built to play in the later months of the year as it gets colder, and a team that can just pound the ball, get play action going, play really good defense. Not that the Rams can't do these things as well. So I think this is another toss-up division. But give me the Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks right now, and then the
Like
Rams are one of the top
they're
wild
looking good.
cards. But
Yeah.
I mean, Sam Darnold's my guy. Obviously, Stafford's playing amazing too, but their defense is young and experienced. They're not running the ball quite as well as they have in the past years. So I'll give a slight lean to Seattle right now. And the team, yeah. As we sneak into the wild card, though, I want to get y'all's takes on the 49ers because they're right there. They're 5-3. Are they in that division winning conversation for you guys, or no?
It's with the injuries. I have a really hard time thinking they'll win the division because not even the offense. I think Kyle can makeshift it on the offense for long enough. My concern is the defense, guys. Like with the injuries they have on defense. I mean, even against the Texans game, with the Texans out some of their best playmakers, which admittedly isn't a lot, but even with them being out, that they were still able to put up points against them and win this weekend, which I think is a point of concern for the 49ers going forward. I'll say this. I would feel very confident about picking three teams from this division to make the playoffs. I just don't think 49ers, as of right now, are going to be in the division winner conversation. It seems like Evan disagrees with me. I'm not picking against Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers to not make the playoffs, though.
Phil, what you got on them?
Yeah, I mean this whole division. I mean, they're going to start knocking each other off, and the picture become clear. But you can't. I don't think you can count out the Niners. Obviously, losing Fred Warner was huge, but I could easily see the 49ers coming up on top. The way they've been battling with Mac Jones, McCaffrey stepping up, looking like his old self. I'm not gonna put any money on them, but I'm not gonna count anyone out besides the Cardinals because they just cannot seem to get it together. Marvin Harrison's always in his head. Kyler's always just can't see over the line a little bit. Just can't see the. Jacoby was looking good though against the Colts.
That's what I'm saying, Phil. I feel a lot better after the Colts game. He went out there and had another great game against the Packers and almost beat them.
Yeah,
So
he
it
was
wasn't
looking
just-
good. He was looking good in the first half,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for me, this is where it gets interesting. I think this last kind of team in the NFC, but like for me, the 49ers are not a playoff caliber team because I think they're a worse team with Brock Purdy, who's going to be their starter now. Now, maybe after a couple of weeks, Mac Jones gets healthy again, that's going to change. But Mac Jones is better for me. But they're going back to Brock Purdy this week because I think Mac is maybe hurt now. It's a mess. Fred Warner is out for the year. Nick Bosa is out for the year. The receivers, Ayuk's coming back soon. Pearsall will be back. They're going to get healthier there, but
They
I
don't even
just
need him.
yeah, I just don't.
Meaning that it's next man up for receivers. I don't think
Yeah.
the
Is
difference
it?
of
Their ceiling improves drastically with those receivers, though. I mean, I think Phil is correct that they're capable of winning games with the next man up approach. But if you have Brandon Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall, who looked really good early in the year, Juwan Jennings, who has more than shown that he's better than number three, you have George Kittle back, who was dunking on people in like a couple weeks back from injury, and even guys like Tongas and the Mexican Kendrick Bourne and them were got the opportunity to play and did something with it. They have a loaded offense, and you pair that with one of the best. I'm not going to say the best because I have a pretty strong bias towards who the best running back in the NFL is right now. They have one of the best running backs who's multifaceted. With Brock Purdy, that offense is stacked, and I completely disagree with you, Evan. Mac looked good early when he first started, but the last couple of weeks he has looked awful. There's no way you can tell me at this point he's better than Brock Purdy. I by no means am saying Brock Purdy is a top five quarterback like some people used to say. I think you and I are definitely aren't on that take, but I definitely think he's better than Mac Jones, and he is, and I think I can very confidently say that now.
Let's see
Mac
Brock
Jones
Purdy
is
play this week.
terrible.
He's
Mac
not.
Jones is
This team
Um,
would be dead and buried without Mac Jones. So let's see what Brock
you're
Purdy
saying
looks like this week.
you're saying the receivers didn't step up, but Kendrick Bourne put up 140 back-to-back weeks with Mac Jones. So was it
Yeah,
Mac Jones?
with Mac Jones, and then Brock
Was it
Purdy
Mac
couldn't even.
Jones or was it Kendrick Bourne?
Yeah, and then
I feel
Brock
like-
couldn't
I feel
even
like
win
this
games
is-
with Pearsall and the guys.
Disrespectful to Brock Purdy, bro.
It is disrespectful. I've been on this trade for years, so we'll see what happens.
I
But
appreciate your consistency. I'll give you that.
I think this team is fading and fading fast. Now the question though, because they are looking at the standings right now, we've talked about
They're 5-3. Yeah.
they're 5
What
and
is-
3.
5 points.
They have the
Yeah.
7th seed right now, and then the teams right behind them are Chicago, who I don't know if you guys have buried them, but I just buried them.
I buried them.
I don't feel very good about them.
Carolina, who maybe Phil has some interest in, but I think we can all agree are buried. Dallas, I've buried Dallas.
Okay, but let me ask you this, Phil. Let me ask you this, Evan and Phil. Before we start talking about the teams that are buried, currently in the wild card picture, is it? And technically, it's the Lions, but let's say we assume the Lions end up winning division. Let's say the Packers take the first wild card spot. Who's the number 2 right now? Is it the Rams, Seahawks?
Yeah, it's the loser of. Well, I mean, honestly, I think what we saw from Sam Darnold last year is maybe he's a regular season merchant. I mean, I'm giving him all the props in the world for proving me wrong week after week of just continuing to be dominant. I think it's more JSN and
Mhm.
Justin Jefferson, but than him. But I expect the Seattle to kind of finish the year 9-8, 10-7. Like, so maybe they'll squeak in. I'm not going to say they're going to be number 2. I think number 2 is going to be a surprise team. I think we're pretty reactionary. So like we're saying the Cowboys are buried. I kind of agree the Cowboys are buried. But I like the team. I like Carolina. They're going to come in. They're going to surprise everyone. Bryce Young's shown consistency. We saw what happens when he's out of the lineup. Doesn't look very good. They had a couple early bumps beginning of the season. Everyone did. Everyone had their bumps, or a lot of teams just looked pretty bad the first 3 weeks. So I think you're going to see them go on a run, especially with Seattle or with the Saints and Falcons and Bucks. Not really a tough division. So I think they're going to get number 2.
That is a
Wow.
bold take, Phil, but we're here for the bold
Wait for
takes.
it.
That's
Wait for it.
Ev, you got to clip that one. That is a good one. The
Yeah.
other thing I'll ask you, though, Evan, is are you questioning the 49ers' legitimacy because of your hopes to leave the door open for the Commanders when Jaden gets healthy to make a little run at the end of the year?
Well, that's my point here because they have the big leg up in the numbers game, but like their defense without Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, that's such a huge hit for a unit that's always already. I mean, with Salah had him rolling, but like that's the only team just given their situation in the standings that I'm that that worried about right now. And obviously, there's only one spot left. But Atlanta, no, I'm burying Atlanta for sure. Minnesota becomes interesting, but their offensive line play has been so bad, and like JJ's still gonna have to work out the kinks. And then, so I think by the end of the year, the Commanders are going to be a top 17 in the conference. The question is, can they make up that much ground on
I
San
actually
Francisco?
absolutely agree with you, Evan. I do think that if
Right.
there's one team that's not currently in the playoff picture as of right now, the Commanders are the team that are the most interesting. Now, these next couple of games are going to be massive for them because it's a brutal schedule for the next 3 weeks. If they can somehow sneak out one of these, I think Jaden might actually be back next week from what
He
I was
will, yeah.
reading. If they can sneak out one of these, then I feel very good about them potentially being able to go on a run and close the gap. But in order for that to happen, you need what you said to come to fruition, which is you need the coaching to not be enough to carry the 49ers. And my other thing is I think their offense is going to get significantly better as the season progresses. So it's up for debate as to whether that gap gets closed. But I'm going to give a hot take and say that I think the Commanders will find a way to make the playoffs. I don't know if it's going to be the 49ers, who it is, but they just I feel like with Jaden, especially as the season progresses, they're too good for me to think they won't be able to be in the playoff picture. I don't know. It's just how I feel. So I think they'll find a way. I don't know who they're going to go over, but they will be one of my wildcard teams, along with the second place team of the NFC West and the second place team of the NFC North, which I expect to be the Seahawks and the Packers. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Should we, assuming you guys don't have any strong disagreements or have any other takes, you guys want to jump to the AFC so we can get the takes later too?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's go AFC. We'll be quick about the divisions because this will be a fun one. AFC East. I think we're pretty confident that it's a two-man race at this point. Do we think it's the Patriots or do we think it's the Bills, guys? This has been actually talked about a lot in sports media where I've seen quite a few people flip to the Patriots. So this is actually going to be a fun one.
Phil, who you
Yeah,
got?
I'll start. I think mine's more traditional.
Okay.
I think you got to go with the league MVP, Josh Allen, not this year, but Josh Allen. I mean, Drake May is ascended, but this is Josh Allen's division. He's the new Tom Brady. Drake May will regress, and I don't think it's going to be that close. I think the Patriots kind of revert back to the mean. They've had a pretty easy schedule. Drake May's playing unbelievable, but I think once you get to the second half of the season, especially December, the Bills will rise and the Patriots will fall.
And the cold weather could play a big part in that too. That's a good point.
Yeah, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. I think the Bills bounced back and looked a lot better. Obviously, it's Andy Dalton and the Panthers, so you expect them to play well up. But they have the first place schedule. The Patriots have a pretty easy schedule, and they're playing pretty lights out right now. I mean, the offense just put 30 on one of the best defenses in the NFL. So and their
On a
defense
week
is
where
good.
Myles Garrett had 5 sacks to set the franchise record, they still dropped over 30.
Yeah.
I will say though, as a fellow Cleveland Brown defense holder in fantasy, a lot of the reason why they're giving up so many points because their offense is just abysmal,
Yeah,
putting
true.
the defense in terrible position.
Dylan Gabriel
Yeah.
should be sitting for Shador Sanders. I still stand by that, but continue.
We're not discussing that this week, Si.
Bring that up.
This is a tough one. Patriots have the head-to-head too. Give me the Patriots. It's gonna be. I just think they might get them. I think they might get them. I mean, the Patriots look like a Super Bowl contender here. Maybe, I don't know. We'll talk about it later. I might have a take, but anyway, Si.
I like the hot take that you might have later, Evan, and I'm also going to jump on the bandwagon with you because I actually, it's been 3 weeks in a row where I brought up Drake May, so this will be the third week I do it. I was saying a few weeks ago that if I could redraft that class, that I'd probably take Drake as my quarterback, just because not only because he's ascending now, but because his durability I expect to be better because of his stature and size, and he's just making some of those plays that only guys like Josh and Mahomes and the Lamars make, which is just, and maybe Jaden last year could make, and that's really a way to differentiate your team. But beyond that, I think I actually trust the personnel maybe on the Patriots a little bit more. Like I think the Patriots defense is better than the Bills defense, especially they're on a 5-game winning streak and they've held a lot of teams to a small amount of points, especially when they've gone on the road too. And then offensively, you could argue the Patriots' weapons are better. Stephon Diggs looks like looks as good as he's had in years, and then Kayshon Boutte's playing well. Ramondre Stevenson's randomly having a great year. I honestly, James Cook's great, but there's a real argument for the Patriots being the better overall team. And I think if the Bills overcome them, it's going to be Josh Allen just playing like significantly better than Drake May. And my thing is, Drake looks like he's gotten to the point where he could edge himself into that top five discussion at some point by the end of the season. So with that in mind, I got to take the Patriots, y'all. I'm with you. Yeah,
Talk about a team that can make an acquisition too.
true.
I've been thinking Jacoby Myers going back to New England. What do we think about that? I mean, they don't really need help at wide receiver, but it can't hurt.
Be a good call to get another weapon for him. I mean,
I mean,
you named like some players on them, but they're not powerhouses. They're just a well operating offense right now. They don't have a playmaker.
Get Travion Henderson more involved too.
Yeah, they need to get Henderson more involved, but I low-key think that if they make an acquisition, they should spice up their defense even more. I would lean more on the defensive side if they need to. That's how you close the gap with some of these
Gotta go
teams.
get AJ Brown.
Never know. Yeah,
Can we stop with the AJ Brown trade rumors? That's every year with this nonsense. I'm so tired of it. NFL media.
Not using me.
he's actually like for as much like as people want to talk nonsense to him because every week everyone's like, oh, AJ Brown's complaining again. He's so darn good. Like just like leave him alone. There's no way as the Eagles general manager I'm trading that guy. Now to be fair, Devontae Smith would be a top 10 receiver as a number one if he was a number one as well. So it's insane the wealth of weapons they have. But we might be able to get back to the Eagles later.
Not to dig into that tweet, use me but not use me, but as an Eagle fan, I read it as like they're using me, but they're not taking advantage of me. They're not using me. That's how I read it. I think it was a nice positive tweet by AJ Brown.
Okay. Yeah, like he definitely meant that in like I'm really happy type of way, Phil. I'm with you.
Hey.
All right, let's jump to the AFC North. This should be fun. Phil, for context, I'll start this one off. The last couple of weeks, me and Evan have been talking about, along with Zach, why we should be betting the Baltimore Ravens to go win this division and take the money when we had it. And unfortunately, we didn't, and now I strongly regret that. Because some way, somehow, they managed to win this weekend without Lamar Jackson, even though we all thought he'd be back. And the Steelers and Bengals both managed to lose this weekend. And the Bengals to the Jets, who haven't even won a game yet. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out because I don't like. Here's where I'm at. I'm going to pick the Ravens, but this is assuming I actually think Lamar's back next week.
He's back this week.
I don't know if he will be. What'd you say, Evan?
I think they confirmed today he's playing Thursday.
He's playing Thursday. Okay, let's go. Ravens coming back to win the AFC North. You can stamp that. I have no trust. The Steelers next week are playing my Colts. The Bengals just lost to the Jets. I don't have a strong belief in either of those teams to consistently be able to win games every single week. And I really believe that with Lamar back and with how easy the Ravens schedule is the rest of the year, they can close that gap pretty quickly, actually.
Phil?
Yeah. I think if you look at last year, the Steelers were 6-2. They had Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, but they had a lead over the Ravens. I think the Ravens were 5-3, so right in the thick of it compared to this year. But for all the things you just mentioned, Ravens got a steal of a win this past Sunday with Lamar getting another week's rest. Derrick Henry looked pretty good. I think they come back and they just kind of roll. Get 8 wins here while the Steelers just keep losing. I'm not a big believer in what I saw last night.
Yeah, the Steelers are completely cooked at this point. I mean, there's a certain team that's had the worst losses of the year, and then there's a team that had the most, what I'll say, catastrophic loss of the year, and that was losing that game to the Bengals. I mean, at this point, it's not even gonna be hard for the Ravens to win this division.
2 weeks.
Yeah, the head-to-heads are in play. Schedule's easy, like you guys mentioned. And speaking more broadly about the wild card picture, if you're a team on the outside looking in right now, which we're going to talk to, it's kind of hard to find spots on how I get back into this mix. Like we're talking about the Commanders. This is how you find your spot back into the mix. The Steelers falling out of that top 7. So I know we'll get into the wild card later, but I'm not locking them into a playoff spot. Certainly not the division. I think the division's basically over. Shout out Kay Adams. I think she made FanDuel a lot of money by tweeting about this race constantly. I mentioned it last week, but
I was going to be talking about this all year, but I don't blame him for it because it's a hilarious take. We'll jump to the AFC South. Is there even a question here, gentlemen? Can we not even waste time on this one? Who you guys got? I'll just ask to humor the audience.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is clear and obvious. The culture going to take this one. But let's not just count out the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're 4-3. They got a +8 turnover margin. It looks like they're way out of it. Colts are way ahead of it based off of how the Colts have been looking on offense. You guys do have Daniel Jones. One little unfortunate injury to an offensive lineman or Jonathan Taylor himself. Hopefully not. This thing can turn on a head. They're only 2.5 games out. So let's not say it's the Colts right now. Sai, you mind saying that out loud? It's not the Colts right now. No, I think there's room for the Jags to go on a run if the Colts turn it around and look bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Colts are gonna roll this one. We can save time on this one, but I know Zach's not here. He's the Texans guy. They've started to look a lot better, and CJ Stroud's playing really well. That's the
They have one
team.
good
I'm
game.
not. They're not. They're way too far gone to win the division. But when you start talking about a team that could sneak in and catch the Steelers for the playoff spot, they're starting to play a lot better with that defense, and Stroud's playing really well. So don't count them out. I know Zach's not here; he would be saying the same thing, so I'll say it for him. But
The Colts
I'm
look
watching.
very good,
I'm watching them.
but they haven't played anybody, and so until they play somebody,
I mean, they
then
handedly beat the 49ers. That was impressive.
exactly they have not played anybody.
That was
You
impressive.
talk about you said the Colts haven't played anyone or the Texans haven't?
The
Texans.
Colts haven't.
Oh,
The Colts haven't.
Yeah, I didn't think the Colts played the 49ers. I mean, they played the Chargers and the Broncos. That's their two.
No, Evan was talking about the
He was
Texans.
talking about the Texans.
I think the wins again. The win. Here's the difference though with the Colts, and I might get into this more with a later take, but everyone we've played that hasn't been good, we have destroyed them, which is always a sign of a good team.
Always.
Absolutely destroyed
Did
them.
you say this?
Yeah, and then the good teams that we played, we have either beaten. The Chargers, we actually went to LA and destroyed them. They never even had a shot against us that game. And then the Broncos, obviously, we got a little bit lucky with that leverage call, but we were in it till the end against them, against an elite defense, and managed, even with a not so great from Daniel Jones, ended up winning that game. And then the Rams, who we all just picked to win, or at least two of us picked to win their division, we were an A.D. Mitchell drop ball. We were 3 mistakes away from winning that game on the road, and it was still a 1-possession game. So I really, this is my main thing, and I'll bring this up later, but I'll actually get into this later because I don't want to fully exhaust all my opinions on this. But I'm going to call someone out later on our podcast, so I'll wait till then. But the one thing I'll say about the Texans is
might be you,
they
Phil.
beat the 49ers, but the 49ers, this is the worst the 49ers are going to look all year. So I'm not going to give the Texans, good for them. I'm glad they won that game, and it gives them a shot to make the playoffs. I'm with you, Evan. And I do agree with you that if they do make the playoffs, it's not a team that you're really excited to play because their defense is elite. So who knows? Maybe they can figure out a little bit of something on offense. But I'm not going to give them a ton of credit for this week, because just last week they had 3 turn in a game where Seattle turned the ball over 3 times. They still lost that game convincingly. If they play a good team, I'm not worried about the Texans because their offense cannot move the ball against good defenses. It's very clear that is true. It's just right now the 49ers defense is a bottom 5 defense in the NFL with all these injuries. Oh, I'm going forward. I stand by that take.
That's
Going
a horrible
100%.
No,
Nick
That's a
Bosa,
horrible take.
no Fred Warner. Their
that
secondary.
was solid.
They lost all their linebackers.
No Nico Collins, so that offsets one of the 49ers
Sure, but
injuries.
but that's my point. Without Nico Collins, they put up 30 points on him. I'm saying going forward, I think we'll see this be a trend with the 49ers. My thing is I think their offense will be good enough going forward to make up for that. But anyway, I'll get off my Texans soapbox. I think they will. The wild card is in play. I'll give you that, Evan, just because there's enough there. Let's go back to the remaining conference. This one should be the fun one. We have Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders. I laugh as I say the Raiders. What do you guys got in this division? I'll go after you guys, although it's going to be very obvious who I pick. So yeah.
Phil, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think this one's probably the toughest one of all divisions. I'm gonna lean on the Chiefs. I mean, I liked what Bo Nix and the Broncos are doing, but I mean, they got 2 wins in the fourth quarter against the Eagles and the Giants these last 2 weeks. And then they faced the low end Cowboys defense, and I mean, Broncos got a good defense themselves. So when they face a powerhouse like the Cowboys, they get the advantage since they have a good defense. So when you look at the Broncos, they might look like a juggernaut, but they have to rely on these fourth quarter comebacks, just kind of like the Commanders last year, and I think with the Bucks this year. It's just you can't put too much faith in just being able to play lights out in the fourth quarter. So I think they'll kind of start losing some games here, and the Chiefs will keep winning. I don't know how they're doing tonight.
Give me the Broncos. Give me the Broncos. I've wishy-washed on this one. I said before the season I went Chiefs, but I really wanted to go Broncos. And then after the Chiefs started slow, I did flip to the Broncos, and I'm going to stick to the Broncos. They have the mathematical edge right now. First of all, I know the Chiefs look amazing right now, but let's not fall into the fugaze of a couple nice looking games. They haven't played head to head yet, so I think that's where it gets really interesting. But the Broncos proved last year that they're building a formula that could beat the Chiefs with two near losses last year, and I think the Broncos are going to barely hold off the Chiefs to win this division this year. I'm not as worried about the Chargers. I think the Chiefs will be able to handle the Chargers, although the Chargers won head to head. So I think this is going to be a very close division till the end. I'm gonna side with the Broncos.
This is not going to be shocking that I picked the Chiefs, but my thing with the Broncos is I do agree with you, Evan. If they have consistent quarterback play, it doesn't even have to be elite. Like, it doesn't have to be as good as Bo Nix at his best. It just can't be as bad as Bo Nix at his worst. The problem with them is he's not a medium quarterback anymore. He's either I'm going to go have an elite game and look like a top 5 quarterback this week or fringe top 5 quarterback this week, or I'm going to go out there and put up an absolute dud, and or at least for 3 quarters, I'm going to forget how to play football, and then for a quarter, I'm going to be the best quarterback in the NFL. And that is not going to win you games against the elite teams in football. I can't plausibly. I know the Broncos have a. Sorry, go ahead.
They did win that one game against the elite team.
But what I'm saying is that's an anomaly, right? Like, that's not a consistent product. I can't pick against the Chiefs when they've. I don't understand the Broncos have the lead, but the Chiefs have convincingly won the last couple of weeks. That included destroying the Lions before they got Rashee Rice back, and most of the NFL has been talking about the Lions as the best team in the NFC. So, and I guess it's an even game and it's not over yet, but I expect the Chiefs to win tonight. So they're going to close another game against the Broncos at that point, or be within one game. I cannot convincingly say that because the Broncos last year had a winning formula with quotation marks where they didn't win the games, but I guess they got close in a divisional game. They're playing a much different Chiefs team now. I think we can all very confidently agree that the Chiefs now are an incredibly better offense than they were last year, and that was a Chiefs team that made the Super Bowl with that offense. So it's just that argument doesn't hold a lot of weight to me because it's both teams are a lot different this year, and I would argue the Chiefs have gotten drastically better, at least on one side of the football, and the Broncos are pretty much where they were last year. And if you talk about last year, if you want to bring that up, the Broncos didn't beat like a single playoff team the entire time they're on their win streak last year. This is why I said coming into this year, we need to be a little bit weary of how much we overrate the Broncos. I don't know. Long story short, I do think they have a legitimate shot to obviously be a playoff team and compete, but I'm not picking them over the Chiefs. That's where I'm at.
They're playing off of this guy for a few weeks.
Yeah, it's just a couple weeks though. They have plenty of space. But how do you beat the Chiefs, Zach? How do you beat the Chiefs?
You don't.
Seriously though, answer the question.
Right now, I genuinely, the only way you can beat the Chiefs is if Patrick Mahomes turns the ball over multiple times, or if the offense turns the ball over multiple times, and you are able to get the ball out quickly and consistently and put together drives over and over and over again without them stopping you on defense, because eventually they'll get you with blitz packages and get you to turn the ball over.
All right, let me go to Phil. Oh, sorry.
And I was saying offensively though, the only way you're stopping them is if they actually turn the ball over. That's the only way you're stopping them right now.
Let me go to Phil then. Phil, how did the Eagles beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl by 50 points?
I mean, it's all about that defensive line, defensive pressure. You get Mahomes rattled, it's over. Travis Kelce, he's a little too flabbergasted now when he starts to panic.
You think this Chiefs offense is the same as the one that played the Eagles in the Super Bowl, Evan, or are we just forgetting that they were out
on the offensive line? On the offensive line, yes, I do. I think the Broncos
is way better than it was during the Super Bowl.
Well, they got 2 tackles out tonight, so we'll see what happens
right now. Unless he came back this week, and they're still playing well.
If you can rush the passer and you can keep Mahomes off the field, you can beat the Chiefs. And those are things that the Broncos, if Bo Nix is completing at a high percentage, obviously that's the big question mark. But with Nick Benito and those guys and Surtain shutting down the one when he gets back, man, they have the formula that can beat the Chiefs, and I think we're going to see it this year.
I agree they have the formula, and they might. And my whole argument, I think, in the future that we'll see here is it's regular season versus postseason. So I mean, we're in the regular season right now, we're in the thick of it. So like, Evan might be able to convince me to take the Broncos in the regular season, but even at Denver, I would still take. I'm going to take Mahomes over Broncos. It was kind of just a mute point.
Wild cards. I feel like the AFC right now feels clear, but it's not going to end this way. So, who are you of the top 7? How it currently aligns, right? It's the, I guess correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the 3 West teams, right? Oh no, the Jags actually. Well, the Jags are technically in over the Chiefs right now, but obviously no one thinks that's going to hold. So let's just throw the Chiefs in over the Jags, and then you have the 7 that you would expect: Colts, Patriots, Broncos, Steelers, Bills, Chargers, Chiefs. Give me a swap of some sort on what's going to change by the end of the year in terms of a playoff team.
I'll go really quickly. We talked about the Ravens obviously surpassing the Steelers in the division, which at that point the question becomes, are the Steelers going to win a wild card position over any of the current teams that are in it? My answer would probably be no, but I haven't looked super far into the Steelers schedule to know how I think they'll close out the season. I'm not going to rule them out, but it'll be interesting to see. I think the teams you have to look out for, as you alluded to, Evan, are the Steelers, the Jaguars, and the Texans are the only 3 teams I think that have any sort of a shot to close the gap on any of these teams. I think a lot of people would probably argue the Chargers are the team that they would have to be you'd have to be a bit concerned about with the amount of injuries they have. But I'm not picking against John Harbaugh, Justin Herbert, and some of the playmakers they have, and I think they'll piecemeal it together to make the playoffs. So as boring as it sounds, I think we're only getting one team out of the AFC South and the AFC North, and the other ones will hold the wild card down.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. It's not. I mean, you could pick like the Jags. You can even look at some of these other teams, like the Bengals have looked pretty good with Flacco offensively, like compared to when they had Browning in, but their defense is just so abysmal. It's just more if you look at of those teams, of the 3 West teams and the Bills and Patriots, like who's going to slip far enough out. It's hard to knock any one of them off, but if I had to give like a team to keep an eye on in AFC, I would go with those Bengals. I know they just lost to the Jets, but I mean Flacco's cooking, and they got Hendrickson right now. So big play. It's all you need is to stay in the game, and then you get a big play. And they kind of choked that game, but that's my one team. It's the
defense gave up like 40 points to a Justin Fields who wasn't even planning on starting this week.
He was an emotional man. They didn't game plan for him.
No Garrett Wilson too. Like, are you joking?
Nick Mangold passed away. May he rest in peace.
Really
like they're just a lot of those times you saw what happened with the Broncos with Cortland Sutton. Like those things do trigger a little emotional response.
That's true. That's a good point. RIP to
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on Mondays down south, but as being a guest on this show, you are deserved at least one good roasting a week, and it's going to come right here, because that is a horrible take that the Bagels have a shot to make the playoffs after they just lost at home to the Jets. Justin Fields did play well. Shout out my boy Justin Fields, but come on, man. The Bagels and Joe Flacco aren't going to the playoffs already. We're close.
Well, the one thing I'll give full credit for is sometimes teams will, throughout the course of a week, will have bad losses. Their offense has, with Flacco, looked very good. I'll give him at least very good in the sense of way better than we thought they would look after Joe Burrow got hurt. I just feel bad because this is not a good look for Joe Burrow, bro. Like, he's obviously an elite quarterback, and I'm not taking anything away from him, but they're convincingly dropping 30-plus points against teams without him when they just have a marginally competent quarterback, and you start to realize how insane their weapons are when they're capable of doing that. The fact that people were arguing that Jake Browning is one of the best backup quarterbacks from a few years ago is exactly the point. That Evan being one of those is exactly the point. So in that sense, I will give Phil credit where credit's due. The problem is if Joe Burrow almost had an MVP caliber year last year and they didn't make the playoffs because of that defense, I don't think all of a sudden Joe Flacco is going to make that happen. I don't know. That's just my take, but It's probably
I did start off with saying I don't think, but if I had to, I'm going with the
but we
Bengals.
do, we do got to give Phil a little bit of crap for it though. Evan, do you want to quickly give your wild card take so we can jump to any quick takes we have?
Yeah, I realized my icon.